Uh-huh.
Yeah, not a holiday for us.
Spinning, we're spinning, we're spinning. Oh boy. Yeah, that's what I said. Good afternoon, adventurers! Happy Friday, Sarah. We're having technical difficulties at this moment, but we're okay now. Welcome, adventurers, to Friday. And you know what that means. It's John's Dungeon Corner from the collective right here in Altamont Springs, Florida, where it's a nice 87 degrees. And depending on your perspective, that's a good thing. And maybe it's a little too hot, but it's just right for adventuring. All right, so we got a cool thing planned today. Harley, how you doing, Harley? Decided to come visit today. Where's your all-seeing friend co-host? Oh, he had to go back. Xanathar called him back and said it was time to come back. He checked things out for a while and decided it was time to go back home. So, you know how it is. These beholders, they're here 1 minute, gone the next. They're all seen, don't you know? Anyway, so a lot of good things are happening. I want to give a shout out and I want to talk about these. Now, I'm not going to really talk about them, but I'm going to bring them up. Duncan Rhodes, for those of you who have heard the name, he used to be with Games Workshop. He used to do all their painting tutorials, a lot of wonderful things on there. You can learn a lot. And he has his own line called Two Thin Coats Paint. Very nice colors, goes on really smooth. And he's got quite a few colors in the line. Okay, so I'm not going to really get into it because I've only really just started using them. So I'm painting some goblins. Of course. I mean, why not? My deep mountain goblins. Yes, they're going to be a cool color, Joe. I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to show you. Probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks, maybe. Yeah, it might be a month. You never know. A lot of goblins to paint. You know, they just proliferate and run all over the place. So, but Duncan Rhodes, you got to come by and check those out. I know there's a lot of paints out there. They already come with a little mixing ball in them. So that's one step out of the way. See? Really nice, vibrant colors. I like it. I like the tincture. The tincture? That's what they say? Yes, that's what it is. So definitely come by and check those. Hello, love. Welcome to the show. Hey. And Donna. That's funny, actually. All right. So today, what a day. What a day. Okay, so today we're going to do one of those special guest appearances because why? That's what I like to do. I don't like to announce it. I just like to do it. So anyway, you know, in the past, we've had quite a few DMs and players come out. So, and I've talked about this person a couple times on the show. Well, anytime I bring up the Wednesday show, we have quite a few DMs. We have Elliot, we have Antonio, myself, a couple others. I can't remember everybody's name. That's just the way it is. But I decided to grab one and drag him out to the show because that's what we do as Dungeon Masters. All right. So give a round of applause for Donna Baker. She's going to come on up here. All right. This is Donna. Donna, say hi to everybody. You're live, by the way. All right. So this is Donna. She's one of our DMs here on Wednesday nights. And, well, let's see. The first question that always comes to mind. So, Donna, tell us, how long have you been playing Dungeons and Dragons?
About 11 years. Pretty much since my son was born, and he's 11 now. So
oh, well, that's a good way to keep track, right?
Yeah.
That's a good way to keep track. All right, all right. All right, so, look.
Hi,
See, this is a very interactive kind of thing. See, I told you got to be able to read. I see that, right? Sometimes I'm like, what? What's it? I
don't do any reading, actually.
Oh, boy. She's one of those fly-by-night DMs. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so you've been playing for 11 years. So what's your favorite class?
My favorite is Druid.
Oh, the Druid. Did you hear that?
Far.
So all you Druid fans, round of applause. Here's a fellow Druidic, what kind of Druid, though?
Love Circle of the Moon. Love being giant animals.
There you go. Circle the moon for the win.
Love. Hi, Sarah.
There'll be people popping in and out. You'll see it's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
see?
Rena.
Go Druids. All right, so Circle of the Moon Druid. And so you started playing when 3.5 was still around, right?
Right. Yes.
So what did you think of the transition from 3.5 to 5?
I like it a lot more. I like being able to, my style of DMing I call speed running. And with 5,
So what do you do?
way
Make the
more
players run around the table really
possible.
fast?
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
I'm
It's
sorry.
like a Chinese fire drill. You have to run and roll your dice while you're going, and it's
Oh no, that's a
nonstop.
halfling fire drill. What you talking about? A goblin fire drill. Look, Chinese. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Karen. Oh, good grief. So what is this speed? What's the speed DMing thing going on here?
So it is like we don't keep track of coins smaller than gold because
There were some rich players, right?
well, not necessarily. They don't get more gold than in your standard game, but when you're getting a pint of ale, when you're getting a room to sleep in, when you're getting I don't care. Like you keep track of the gold that you're gonna buy the important items, your armor, your weapons, your
How much is a pint of
potions.
how much is a pint of ale in your game?
A few copper. You know.
Well,
for
all
a
my
cheap-
change.
Yeah, I'm
You don't
not
get
gonna
to keep
make you
the-
keep track of copper. I don't care. I want to fight monsters.
She wants to kill. She wants
I'm
to
ready
kill
to
you.
go.
I love it. So okay, so see, there you go. So that's a different perspective. I like to
Yeah.
hear that kind of thing. Okay, so there's nothing, no denomination lower than a gold.
Mhm.
All right. Now, how do you create your characters? How do you when the characters sit down
Mhm.
to your session 0, right?
Right.
How do you create them?
So character creation is open to anything. I feel like I just want people to be the character they've always wanted to be. So that, tiefling druid that you've always wanted to be, that gunslinger that you've always wanted to be. You wanted to be an Aarakocra, artificer, whatever it is. Like I curate the game, I make the game work for the
Okay.
players.
So how do the players get their stats?
We start with standard array +2. So it's going to be 17, 16, 15, 14, 12, and 10.
Ah, I like that. See,
So
okay,
a
I
little
like
bit more
that.
than standard array.
I like it though.
And
I like
then-
it, right?
Yeah.
And then they get their bonuses
Their
for their raids and stuff.
bonuses.
All right, so that's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so what kind of game do you run? What are you running nowadays?
Right now, it is a game based in Tal'Dorei. So any Critical Role fans out there,
Uh-huh.
Tal'Dorei, and right now they are they're trying to figure out why the Winter Court Archfey are trying to take over the world. They've already destroyed one of the very important cities, one of the cities that is in a couple of my players' backgrounds, actually, where their hometown is. So those players have a vendetta to figure out why the Winter Court Fae are destroying and kidnapping all of their citizens and creating an army, and all of these weird, unusual things are happening because normally Winter Court and Summer Court work in a balance.
Right.
They
Like yin and
work
yang.
together. Right. It's very yin and yang. If you
Okay.
don't have one, the other one will, Winter Court takes over and the Earth will become a solid ice ball in
Right.
the next 100 years. So you can't have that. You can't have everyone die. You can't have no Earth. You can't have no Fey realm either because then all the magic would be gone so you have to just restore balance. It's not just about we beat the bad guy. It is about we have to figure out why this is happening and reverse it.
All right, so talking about background, okay, so you said that this is linked to a couple of your players' backgrounds. So how important are backgrounds in your campaign?
They are as important as my players want them to be.
Ah, okay.
So I have players that have no background. They just exist in this world. They're normal people and they showed up and they wanted to be adventurers and they just play the game. And there are people that have very intricate backgrounds. They're looking for their lost parents. They are, getting revenge for their lost loved ones. And
Okay. See, so there's a nice balance there, right? We're giving the
Right.
balance. All right. Okay, so let's go back to your son. I've seen him playing.
right.
So how does that work out for you? Mom's the DM, son is playing in the game.
I love it. And, he is sometimes more involved than other times. A lot of games he shows up, he's on his phone the whole time. and then we tap him on the head and say, it's your turn. He rolls his attack, rolls his damage, and goes right back to being on his phone. As long as it's not disrupting the game, I'm fine with it.
That's okay. There's adults that do that too. So.
Right, exactly. I'm one of those players sometimes. Like, I get bored and I start looking at my phone. What can I
Excuse me,
say?
it's your turn. It's been your turn for the last half hour.
Just skip me. It's fine.
I'm going to hold my action until I finish this game.
Like, I'm in the middle of catching Pokemon.
Hey, Hannah, welcome to
Hannah.
the show. This is your first time, isn't it? I'm so glad. Yes, like Andy. See, we have a player like you just like that. He's just like you. But that's awesome. Hannah, welcome to the show. I'm glad you made it on. That's so cool. All right. So let's back up a little bit, right? So let's say that you had to create, and this is a question I ask every DM because we had a big show about this.
Mhm.
Fab Five. What are the five characters?
5, like, racing class?
Your five, no, just the classes. What are those
Classes.
five that you got to have in the party to be successful? What do you think it is?
I love, like, a good combination of a good rogue, a good barbarian, a freaking awesome bard, a magic user. So I really like a sorcerer, but any magic user is good. And then a warlock is great for a good backstory, something with warlock, like a dual class. So they started off like as like a cleric, and then they had to go with warlock because they had to make a deal with the deity for some nefarious reason. And then
Nefarious. It could have been a
Love
good
it.
reason, huh?
oh, I mean, it could be a great reason. You know, it could be to save somebody's life. Could be
That sorcerer's
dead sorceress life.
I'm telling you what. You gotta love the interactive, right?
Love it. Absolutely love it. Thank you guys for commenting. It helps a lot.
Okay, so here we go. So there's your Fab Five. Okay, and we even got a dual class there. By second level, we got to make a nefarious deal with the DM. Look. All right, so what made you make the jump from player? Because there's always that moment in like, yeah, I want to start DMing. What was that moment for you when you said, hey, I love playing, but now I'm gonna try my hand at running the game.
Killing everybody.
No, that's Brendan's line.
So I wanted to DM for a really long time. Obviously, I played for a decade. I was always really nervous about being a DM. I felt like judged. I'm not good at talking in front of people. I get like very tongue-tied. I watched a lot of other DMs.
I've never been with tongue-tied.
Same.
Okay, so carry on.
And I watched a ton of other DMs. I learned a lot about like how to DM, how to make the game for your party, how it's way more fun if you like let them do stupid things, let them get into trouble, let them roll an investigation check in an empty room and they roll a 20, so they have to find something, and you just come up with an item that they get to find. And like all these little things that I was like, okay, I can do this. But the one big thing that was holding me back was I'm not good at being NPCs. I'm scared to be like 100 different NPCs because I don't know about like voices and character creation and like how do I have to keep track of all these people, and that seemed like very overwhelming. And then once I jumped in and I just kind of got over that fear and I jumped into it, I realized it's not as intimidating as you think, because you're going to have a few main NPCs and then you're going to have people, you know, every bartender could have a Boston accent, and it's just like every single town, every single bartender, every single tavern has the same exact NPC
Very
bartender,
true.
and you don't have to make it, you know, different for everyone. The other thing was like, I'm not good at coming up with names, especially on the spot. So my player will randomly walk up to a random person that's got to be there because it's a town with 80,000 people in it, and they'll walk up to a person and go, hi, what's your name? And I'll go, I don't know. What is their name? Because I can't come up with one right now. My brain is jello. And so now I can force my players to name their NPCs, and it makes it a lot less stressful for me.
She
So
has her
kind of
character. The characters help her along the way.
help me along the way. And,
That's cool.
So I learned a lot about DMing just by doing it, you know, and I jumped in my first DM session and I was like, if I'm terrible at this, I'm going to scrap it. I'm going to just say, I don't know what you're talking about, and I'll never DM again. We'll just pretend like it didn't happen.
But it didn't happen. This is not the DM you were looking for.
I don't know what you mean. I never DM'd in my life.
Oh my gosh. We're gonna do we're gonna go once upon a time.
Right.
And poof, everything changes.
And then
we
I
go
got
back.
I got a lot of compliments. I got a lot of encouragement, and I just kept trying. My first campaign went really well, and my second campaign has been incredible, and it's very exciting.
Very cool. See, so far so good.
So far, so good.
And always, and not every session is perfect or turns out the way you thought it was, right?
Oh, I don't even plan sessions.
There you go. Okay, so that was going to be my next question. So how much planning? Oh boy. Okay, so I was going to ask you how much planning goes into your session, but you're going to say
Almost none.
almost that. I show my books, and there I am.
I drive for a living. So I sit in my car, I'm driving along, and I'm thinking, okay, if they decide to do this, I'll run it this way. If they decide to do that, I'll run it this way. Okay, this guy wants to find this. So if they end up in this town, it'll definitely happen. But like, I can't give anything away. So I just ask them, like, what do you do today? What is the plan? Where are you going? And
you just roll with it from there?
it's never any of the things that I thought of for the last 7 days. It's always something completely random that they're just like, we do this. And I'm like, well, shit, okay.
Okay. See? Oh my Lord. We're
I
gonna
didn't
get thrown
say,
off. It's just not what you thought it was.
I'm kicked off the show forever.
Never. No. Okay, so let's go back a little bit more. I lost my train of thought. Great! What did you say?
When you turn to bleaching.
No, it's all good.
I don't have a filter.
No. Do you see what happens? You never know what's going to happen on this show. It's like when Donna's people show up.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I was going to say. Okay, so you have now you're using the world of,
Tal'Dorei.
but you kind of use it to meet your needs, right?
Right. So I based it so that they went through kind of a time warp. They went and fell into different dimensions, and now they're like about 70 years in the future. So even though the Tal'Dorei and that campaign happened, it is now 70 years later. So those characters are elderly, or they're gone, or retired, and like
right.
it's like the next generation is taking.
So and I want to ask, because somebody asked me about that. It was funny because that's one of the questions I was just asked.
Mm-hmm.
What happens in these, there's a lot of campaign books out there. There's the Forgotten Realms.
Sure.
You got Tal'Dorei, you have Eberron.
Mm-hmm.
And for some of the older guys, some of the older players, Greyhawk.
Yeah.
That's going back a little bit, but that's what really the first world that was out there. People, the question came up, well, how do I insert my campaign it without really clashing with the timeline and that?
Right.
There's a perfect example. You go forward in the future, and even if you did put it in the timeline, you can say, like, let's say Forgotten Realms, which is one of my favorite. You can always say it's after the time of troubles, or you could just read up in the books, where are we? And say, okay, this is all happening over here. So in this area that they thought was abandoned, this kingdom has arisen, or these people have arisen, and you can put a dungeon out there, and you can start your own little thing in a corner of the world that nobody else knew existed, because in the truth, nobody really knows how big these worlds really are.
Right.
The authors create them. The books combine them all and put them into a chronological order. Hey, here's what's happened. Here's the latest gossip and news. Carry on. And that's really what happens.
And you can full on multiverse it. You can just say, those people that never had that adventure, we're starting fresh. All the same politicians and NPCs and everything are there, but those player characters didn't exist. We're doing it, and we're doing it our own way. We're solving this. And it's the same thing if you play through the Phandalin universe.
Good answer.
You have 1,000 different ways of doing it.
So we can take the events and that's the other part. You can take the chronological order and look at it and go, okay. Let's alter, because we know that there's other planes of existence.
Right.
First of all, in the D&D, there's a material plane, ethereal, and it just goes out to the astral, and then all the different elemental planes, and so on and so forth. Okay.
Right.
So there's no reason that there's not another dimension where this is happening, but now these characters are now the main protagonists in that dimension. Yeah. And now you kind of have an idea what happened as far as the villains and the bad guys and the little maneuverings that happening, but they're going to live through it, and the outcome may be different. The world may blow up. The world may go south, but it's they get to steer the path of history at this point.
Right.
That's what I think, the path of history.
Do it your way.
Exactly, which is kind of what I do with my campaign. I've told everybody, the Eldritch Kingdom campaign, I have a chronological order of what's happened.
Mm-hmm.
But now the players are at this point. So the last major event of the age was the Demon Wars, where the demons came in and caused all kinds of trouble. The dragons and the people of the land, all devastation was everywhere. About, I think it's like 70 to 100 years later is when the players come in. And now we're here. So now they get the right history from there.
Yeah.
You have a background, and I think we all keep the backgrounds pretty much, right?
Yeah, I like having the background, and the players can reference the background too, like as they're in the game.
History checks.
Right.
So it gives you some working knowledge of the world. You don't have to create everything from scratch, gang, but you can make it your own, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Absolutely.
you were talking about where you're set. You have your first campaign. You got your second campaign.
Mhm.
Are you thinking of offshooting something or?
It is going to be quite a while before this campaign wraps up enough that I will have to decide that. If I will either create kind of a side adventure that goes into another big adventure, or if I'm just going to say this campaign is over and we are starting anew in another realm, another place, another time.
See, so there's that. So there's the before, the after, the future. So as a DM, you got to keep juggling things, right?
Right.
Now, monsters.
Monsters.
Let's talk about monsters. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's these monsters, the relative abundance. That was another question that kind of came. I'm kind of trying to remember all the questions that were asked. I want to interpose them as we talk. The abundance of certain creatures in the world. So do you have like a main bad guy like me? With me, it's always, 99% goblins. I love them goblins. Everybody knows it, right? Goblins for life. And orcs. And I like the basic, granted, yeah, I love my beholders and zealots and askews and displacer beasts. And the mimics are just too much fun not to have. But
Yeah.
goblins are the mainstay, right?
Right.
So do you have a mainstay creature?
So
Should you have a mainstay creature?
It's really up to you in your campaign. I currently
John the Goblin Warrior. That's not, I am not a goblin. Hey, wait, is that a shiny? Don't.
Did you say I'm not a goblin?
Yeah,
Sorry.
carry on. Answer the question.
Disagree.
Don't ignore that comment. Answer the question.
So, right now, because so much of this is part of like the Fae, the Archfey,
Mhm.
I have pretty much any creature that is like a Fae ancestry creature is an enemy. So I've had things that are like forest walkers. I've had I forgot what it's called. It's like a horse dog, but with a flower as a face. I forgot what its name is, but it was like really bizarre and
Bizarre is good.
yeah, I love it. And we've had
Do you have any goblins?
dryads, no goblins, no goblins.
Okay, I can.
Yeah.
A dryad too, huh?
Yeah.
It's now on the internet, so it has to be true. Wow.
God.
My own wife. Oh
Your
my
own
God. I'm
wife.
done. We're gonna wrap up this show now. Because I gotta go get
Just
some
accept who you
shinies.
are.
I gotta go get some
Accept who you
shinies. Okay, go ahead. Golly,
Right.
I don't even know what to say anymore.
So, if your main antagonist is somebody that uses goblins to do all of their bidding, then be a goblin person and have goblins.
Thanks for that. Yeah, thanks for that. Let's talk about you for a moment. So they're in the Fae realm.
Yeah.
Are they in the Fae realm, or has the Fae realm kind of intruded on the material plane
So
now?
Tal'Dorei and the Fae realm are very intertwined. There are like
Right, the carnival, right? They have the carnival. No, that's my bad. That's Strahd and Company, Barovia, and all that. Although that's a very, I don't want to, but talking about what she's doing,
Mhm.
The campaign setting for Strahd. I love you, my husband. DM. Oh yeah, now it's a love thing. First, I'm a goblin. Now I'm the DM. Well, technically, as a DM, I am all the monsters.
You can be all three. You can be husband, goblin, and DM. Don't limit yourself.
I think you are bad for me. So no, but
Okay,
what was I gonna
that's
say?
it.
What was I gonna say? Right. So talking about that, so we've got the Strahd campaign, which is in Ravenloft, and you have Barovia, but there is a carnival that travels through.
Mhm.
And it travels, and it's own. It's almost like its own plane of existence. If you've ever played in that, which is kind of neat.
Yeah.
Because it's a part of Barovia, but it's its own thing. So in the world of
Tal'Dorei.
Tal'Dorei, the Fey realms are separate, their own things,
Yeah.
but interact more frequently than in normal campaigns.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's an entire city of elves, like pureblood elves, that they can, using a lot of their own magic and sorcerers, move their whole city into the Fey realm
Wow.
to protect themselves from danger that's happening in Tal'Dorei. So they can go freely.
Look at this.
I think she had a typo. She meant goblin.
Wow. You mean thank you, Donna, or thank you, Goblin? That's cool. No, that's not cool.
I'm not a goblin.
No
I'm
way,
a
I think she's talking
murder
about-
hobo.
I think she's talking about it's cool that what you said. Okay, so that's really so. See, there's a lot of things, and you'll see a lot of DMs. And I'm actually going to try and bring a couple other DMs up here so you guys out there can see and hear how they run their campaigns and kind of like where they started and where they're at and where they're going to be going and what kind of led them in what direction. Because a lot of the games, so your campaign is actually a base camp. What do I like to call it? A foundation campaign with homebrew.
Right.
See, and now, okay, so I haven't, you guys are wondering, well, we never used that foundation campaign. Okay, so the city, yes.
Yeah, that is really
A
cool.
foundation campaign is what is in the books. I like to call those foundation campaigns because they're founded either in books or in a story or on a TV show, and they've been brought to life in these books. And then what you do is you kind of, and I put that slash in there and then put homebrew because everybody adds stuff to it that's not
Absolutely.
normally in there.
Right.
And that's why I say it's a foundation campaign plus. And I like that because that's what D&D really was. You know, Gary Gygax sat down one day with his brother and Arneson, Dan Arneson, and dreamt up this thing, and it was Greyhawk. And from there, oh my gosh, it's branched out. We're just happy we've made it to second level. Yeah, it's been a year, and they just now made it to second level.
Holy cow!
Now wait for hold on. We only play every 5 to 6 weeks. Okay.
fair.
All right. And sometimes we have to take a little bit of siesta because it's hard getting 10 people across 3 states and once upon a time, St. Thomas together all at one time. Okay. Okay. So the DM has adjusted, and it's not my fault that the players took a year to get the second level.
Yeah.
I run everybody knows,
It's
I
understandable.
run a milestone campaign, and when you you started here, and when you get to here, you become second level.
You're up.
That's the other. So how do you do your leveling up? Do you use the milestone? Do you use the XP route where you keep track of everything, or
No, I don't do XP. That would be insane. So I do milestone, but it could also be like I had a monk player that went into a temple and just randomly tried to make a request to a priest or to a goddess. And I said, okay, it's going to be 1 chance per year, per game year, that you can do this. And everyone in the party went and they just went to their own temples and they tried it. You only get 1% per level chance to talk to this whatever god you're trying to reach. So they were at level 3. They had a 3% chance. They rolled Goblin Horde for XP. The fastest way to get
let's
XP.
keep talking about the deities and what you were talking about. All right, let's ignore the goblin people. Deep down at heart, you're all goblins. You love treasure and magic items. Who you kidding?
Yeah. Hypocrites. Anyway,
We can come to the show more often.
I'm bad.
All right.
I'm bad.
All right, so go ahead. I'm
So,
sorry.
he succeeded. He
At 1%.
at 3%.
Oh, at
chance.
3, he was third.
He,
Okay.
he had to get a 1, 2, or 3
He got it.
out of
He made
100,
it. And he did it.
and he did it. He
So
got
what
a 1.
happened?
So he took. I said, you go to 4th level immediately, but it has to be a leveling cleric, and it has to be with this goddess that you were trying to reach. So he took that and was able to go to 4th level before the rest of the party went. Actually, like 2 sessions before the rest of the party.
Wow. Okay.
So it's like if they go and like
So that was a role play moment.
right.
Role playing. What have I told you? Role playing can accomplish a lot that swinging swords and casting spells can't.
Oh, we've had sessions where we didn't fight anything for 3-4 sessions in a row. That's 9 hours of us just sitting there pretending to be other people.
Role playing. I'm telling you, role play. People
It's fantastic.
see there it is. And I'll tell you, okay, and how much role playing? Okay, this is one of the questions. It's funny because what I do with the questions that people send me is I start grouping them.
Yeah.
I have a little thing, DM questions, and I start grouping them in little folders.
Yeah.
And so all this, you notice, is related, but that's another one. Okay, how much role? I likes the role play.
Yeah.
She really does. She really does. She forces some people in the group to role play. So it's awesome. It's really neat. But okay, so how much role play is not just your group, but when you look at D&D, how much role play would you say? Not should there be, but is a good balance. There's a good balance between swinging swords and spells, swinging swords, slinging spells, and the role play.
I feel like about 1/3 of the time is role playing of some kind. You're talking as NPCs, you're progressing the story, you're figuring things out. About 1/3 of the time you're probably fighting. You're spending time fighting a boss or, whatever, in some kind
minions,
of combat.
not goblins.
And about 1/3 of the time you are farting around, you are annoying the DM, you are
and
shopping.
farts are always funny.
That's right. Always. Never not funny. Okay?
She's a great. I might bring her on the show as an assistant from here on. I was great as a co-host. This would be good. No, but okay. So role playing, minions, minions. All right, that's good. And I had there was another question I'm trying to remember, but more for you. So your party now. I know our Wednesday nights here are kind of hard.
Yeah.
Because one day you'll have 6 players show up, and then the next time you have, I think last session you had like 11 or 12.
Yes.
Okay, so that was one, and that was one of the numbers. And now listen, before she answers this, I'm going to tell you the game was really designed for between 4 and 6 players. All right, because we have open play here done at the collective, we don't ever turn anybody away. In fact, games have been created from Donna's game. There was a group that branched off, and they have like 10 players over there now. Okay, so this is what this is about, is creating more. There's about, I'd say this last Wednesday, there was about 40. Let's see, because I had, there was 8 of us back here. You had about 10, 11, including yourself. They had about 10, 11. There was another group. So, there were about very close to 40 people playing Dungeons & Dragons in here.
More.
If not more, because it was a high school group, group in the corner, the teen group, and that's just teens. So, teens, what I'm telling you is if you want to come and play on a Wednesday, there's actually a game that's just designed for teens, high schoolers that can come out and play. All right? It's summer now. If you want to come play during the day, the tables are open. So, how do you balance that within a campaign where one day you're going to have 6 players and then you may end up with like up to 12?
Right. So my game, I feel like I'm pretty lucky because I have 8 players that are super consistent. They
So
are
8.
almost always there. I have like a player that's almost always there. Sometimes has to be, gone for work or family or whatever. My own son is typically there once in a while. He's just not up to it, And then I have a friend of mine, my friend Justin, jumps in and out of the game as he can make it. His life is just pure chaos, and he doesn't know
just
what
like
he's
Dungeons
going
&
to be
Dragons, pure chaos. See,
pure chaos. So if you have the one person that's in and out of the game, you can set it up to where like a friend of theirs is running their character while
just
they're
one
not
option.
around.
Okay.
Or you can have it to where it's like Justin will, his character Cayman, is a lush, and he'll just, when he's there playing, they'll all run into each other at a tavern. He's drunk and he's just like raring to go. What are we fighting today, folks? And then he just jumps into battle. And he always comes up with a story. I fell in a hole. I, got on a ship. I joined a circus. Whatever happened to him, while he was gone, he always has like a fun
Excellent.
story, and then that also leaves it so that he can level up because he can say, "Oh, I went to the
Right.
mountains to train, and then I came back."
There we go. So that was my other question. What do
Yeah.
we do about players who aren't there? Do they continue to level up even though they're not there?
Mhm.
Are there so many sessions that they? Because what I do is usually, and it hasn't happened yet because I've pretty much programmed. I've pretty much, when we get together, I always schedule everybody. It's not at the first, second level. That may change a little bit.
Mhm.
But what I'll do is I'll have them write me at least a 2 or 3 paragraph synopsis
Yeah.
of essay. I'm gonna call it an essay because I'm an English major at Stetson University. It's an essay, I tell you. So they got to write me a little essay saying, "Here's what I did while I wasn't there."
Yeah.
So So you just let
I
them
like
progress.
to put them on the spot and be like, "Where were you?
Oh, right in front of everybody.
What
Oh,
were you up to?"
so we have essay on the spot. Essay on the spot. I like the on the spot. That's kind of cool. So tell us, Raymond, where have you been?
Where were you? You were there one minute, we turned around, you were gone. What happened?
Oh my gosh! Especially in the middle of a dungeon. That's the hard one, right?
Yeah.
When they're in the middle of a dungeon and it's good in the camp, it's going to take over.
Yeah.
It's going to be played across a couple
Right.
sessions, and we're there now. They're not.
Yeah, and then they fell in a hole. And
Then they
it's like,
fell. See, they fell in the proverbial hole.
I ended up in the Underdark,
Oh, good grief!
somehow made my way back, and now I'm at this tavern.
I'm 3rd level. I'm in the Underdark, and I survived.
Yeah,
Anybody who's seen the D&D movie knows that takes some doing.
absolutely.
Oh, and by the way, when you look talking about the D&D movie, and I'm just going to answer this. I actually, Antonio, my son, you guys know him. He DMs here on Wednesdays and stuff. He actually looked it up and found it somewhere. Those characters were like 16th, 17th level, by the way. So don't get thinking that these were low-level characters that went into the Underdark and survived all that craziness. That party was an average of like 16th level. All right. So just so you know,
Right.
because that was the question. So what level were? So there, it's answered. They were about average of 16th level. All right. So
Yeah, those
okay.
pigs can't wild shape 10 times in a row, typically.
By the way,
Either.
yes. Remember, there was a movie for entertainment. It was a great movie. I love that. I've seen it like 2 or 3 times. I think Antonio's seen it like 4 or 5 times with Sarah, and I'm gonna go see it again and probably get it on DVD. Twice. Oh, it was a great movie. Great
So
movie.
good. I'll
Um,
see it again.
so awesome. So hey, thanks for being on the show. It's been wonderful. Before you go, the 17th tomorrow is it's a demo day. Okay, we're gonna be doing a D&D thing. Come by, visit, kind of get an idea. The demo is actually being incorporated into the big grand melee next week, right? So I'll be here demoing for a while tomorrow. Donna's gonna be one of the guest DMs at the event, and there's going to be a special surprise for everybody who comes and plays. And now it's not something you're going to get. It's just something very cool that all the DMs are doing. It's going to be really neat, but you got to be here to check it out. So the cast, the dice have been cast, and
It's a 5.
we're going to have, actually, there's going to be 5 of us. That's very true. So Donna will be 1, Antonio will be 2, Andy will be 3, Elliot will be number 4 DM, and I will be number 5. That's interesting that I rolled a 5 because that's actually how many DMs there really are. There will be 5 dungeon masters here running that grand melee. So it's not like you got to wait a turn. This is going to start at X time, and there will be 5 groups that can go all at once, which means anywhere from 25 to 30 players will be able to be on the boards playing with their own individual DMs. With the outcome of whatever happens there being working its way into the actual final boss battle. That's what I'm gonna call it, the final grand melee. All right, and that's where, and once again, you'll have 5 dungeon masters sitting there trying to entertain you. Oh, great, yeah. Let the cat out the bag. All right, so that happens on the 24th. And that's National RPG Day, by the way.
Yeah.
Tabletop RPG Day. You can't beat that. A grand melee on that day. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Tomorrow night, tomorrow is the 5th year anniversary of the collective. You gotta come by. I'm telling you, it's gonna be so much fun stuff going on during the day. The party's at night. Come by. Wish the staff well. They've done a great job over the last 5 years. And wow, things have grown. The store is bigger. The staff is bigger. The games have gotten bigger and better, right? And look at it that way. It's going to be a lot of fun. So anyway, Donna, thank you for coming.
Thank you
And I'm
for
going to have
having
you
me.
back.
All right.
At least when you're in town. She's always off driving. All right, so that's it for today. We had a great time. Hey, so don't forget the Duncan Road paints. 2 thin coats. I like this. They didn't have these when we did the paint day. We actually came out with Fiona for her paint day. Oh, it was awesome. 5 years is all. That's right. Thank you everybody for coming out and watching the show today. And this paint, I mean, I've played with it a little bit. It's awesome. I'm not going to tell you a lot.
You gotta get it.
Purple, of course. I mean, hey, purple for the win.
This is my color right here. Orc flesh.
Or flesh. Well, they don't have goblin flesh. So. No, they really do have goblin. But I like the green orange one. All right.
Sure.
But as always, oh my gosh, may the roll rise up to meet your feet, and may all your adventures be successful. I will see you tomorrow here at the Collective, and next Friday on John's Dungeon Corner, and next Saturday at the Collective,
And all those Wednesdays in between.
and all the Wednesdays in between too. All right, thank you for coming out, everybody.
Bye.
We'll see you then. Bye.